All right, the case of a pro-Palestinian activist that was arrested over the weekend goes before a federal judge in New York City this morning. Mahmoud Khalil won't attend the hearing because he's still being held at an ICE facility 1,000 miles away in Louisiana. CBS News legal reporter Katrina Kaufman is outside the federal courthouse in New York City and joins me now. So what can we expect today, Katrina?
Good morning, Vlad. So one thing we're expecting during this court conference is a discussion about jurisdiction. As you mentioned, Mahmoud Khalil was brought to Louisiana, where he's in a detention center that's also notorious for its terrible conditions. Speaking with legal sources last night, they say this is also a way to separate him from his attorneys, from his families, and to put him in the Fifth Circuit, which is known as a much more conservative court district. So they'll be discussing the jurisdiction of where this case can move forward, as well as his attorneys have requested a temporary restraining order to have him returned to New York. We're also expecting there could be some general scheduling and really hoping to get a better understanding of what the government's basis is for arresting and deporting Khalil.
Yeah, I watched a press conference that House Speaker Mike Johnson did when he was asked specifically what laws did Mahmoud Khalil break. He didn't answer the question. So you're an attorney. What is the legal basis for his arrest? What are they saying? What laws are they saying he broke?
The truth is, his attorneys really don't know yet. The government hasn't said, outside of some things we've heard from the White House and in social media statements. But what's really interesting, Vlad, is it sounds like they're trying to rely on this very obscure provision of immigration law that essentially says that the Secretary of State has the right to deport someone if their presence in the United States is adverse to U.S. foreign policy interests. And this is a provision that has also been rarely adjudicated. And I've learned that it has a really interesting history because back in the 1990s, there was a court case that was presided over by President Trump's own sister, the now deceased Judge Marianne Barry, and she found this provision to be unconstitutionally vague and to violate due process. That was then actually ultimately dismissed because it went up to the Third Circuit, where then Judge Alito was a judge, now a Supreme Court justice, of course, and he found that she actually didn't have jurisdiction over the case. But there is this very interesting history of that provision that is tied to President Trump.
Yeah, it would strike me that the situation with Hamas is one that the Israelis are dealing with. This is a war that is being fought by the Israelis and Hamas militants and not here in the United States. So the question, of course, becomes then what is the national security interest that the United States sees in applying that to this guy. And then, of course, the other question is, I know Louisiana has been reporting on this as well, and they're looking into if he at any point during those protests voiced any support for Hamas and Hamas's terrorist activities. So far as I can tell, they haven't found any proof of that.
Vlad, that's what I'm hearing as well from talking to sources. And, you know, they also have to really make a strong tie to bring this case against him. Normally, lawful permanent residents are deported due to criminal convictions. This is a very rare case that we have here. And legal sources I've talked to are also very concerned about the chilling effect that it could have. While there are these immigration issues, a really core issue here is the First Amendment and the right to free speech.
Yeah, so and I guess the last point that I'll make, Katrina, and you can address this because you have a legal background and I don't, which is that in years past, the United States has deported individuals who are legal residents for being anarchists or for being communists in the 1950s. And some of these court cases went as high as the Supreme Court. And as far as I could tell, many times the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the government. If you were an anarchist and you were not an American citizen, even if you had legal rights here and you were a legal citizen as it was defined back then, you would still be deported. But it doesn't appear that that seems to apply here, given, again, that we have not been able to uncover any support or ties to Hamas, which is a terrorist organization.
Yes, that's very true, Vlad. And I think the really important thing to emphasize here is that even as a non-citizen, as a green card holder in this country, you have First Amendment rights to free speech. And the real concern here is whether this is going to chill protests across the country. I was speaking with a source at Columbia last night who was just talking about the culture of fear on that campus right now among international students in particular. They are carrying their passports. They are talking about no longer attending graduate school in the United States. So there could be a lot of repercussions to this.
All right, Katrina Kaufman applying a much sharper mind and intellect than I possibly ever could. I'm still trying to unbundle all of this because it's kind of a complicated and a very nuanced issue. So I'm glad you're here to provide some clarity for us. Thanks, Katrina.